is going to be the master of, well, I guess I'm the master of ceremonies and you're just the master. And we're going to take a minute while Sue shares out to her page and we're sharing out to our page. And we are welcoming you to come on here and put in the comments if there's somebody that you would like to hear from that is passed on to the other realms. And we're just going to take a minute and get ourselves situated here.
Yes, good morning all. And it's taken me, Facebook, they do these little tweaks. And so they change something else on there. So give me a minute. I know.
Oh, good. Tammy Hill came on and said hello. Thank you so much for doing
Tammy.
that, Tammy. Because I was wondering how the chat was going to work on this. So this is perfect. Thank you so much for doing that.
All right. So I just shared it with a couple. And
Tammy, I'm going to ask you to type that in again because I think I know what you're asking for, but I'm not sure I do. Her father. Okay. So we're going to take a minute. And Tammy, I can see your writing. That's perfect. Thank you. We're going to take a minute and we're going to give folks the opportunity to come join us. But Sue, let's just check in for just a minute before we start taking any requests here. And I wanted to share with you one of my dear friends here in Colorado. Her mother just passed away, and it was after 2 long weeks of hospice coming in and saying, we don't know why she's still here, right? And every time my friend Jeannie and I checked in with her mother's energy, we could always see, I could see the whole time what was happening with her. But what was really fascinating was there was such a need for healing between Jeannie and the mom and the other kids and the mom. And toward the end, I would hear things like, just have Jeannie check in with her in spirit. So I'd text Jeannie and say, hey, Jeannie, just, check in with your mom. Just say, hey, I'm thinking of you. And she would do that. And then 2 days later, everybody's going, why is she still here? And I would have Jeannie check in with her mom. And every time Jeannie checked in with her mom, there was some healing that took place for her because she was able to start really seeing her mother as a spiritual being rather than the mean mother who wasn't who she wanted her to be. And so every time there was healing. And then the last night, and we didn't know it was the last night because at that point we were thinking she could just go on and on, right? I actually looked up online how long can a person go without food and water because she had already been a week, right? And it said you could go up to 21 days or so. That was the longest. And I thought, well, if anybody's going to beat that record, it's going to be Jeannie's mom. But the night before she actually passed, I checked in with mom's energy, and what I saw was mom was in her body like she had not been for a week, and mom was worried. She was worried about her husband. They'd been together 49 years. He's in his 80s. And all of a sudden, she kicked back in and she's worried about him. And what I was told was have Jeannie reach out to her mom in spirit and just let her know that the dad is going to be okay, that the kids are going to watch out for the dad and it's going to be okay. And so Jeannie did that. Half an hour later, her mother passed. And there was such healing for Jeannie and her mom at that point. And what was funny, the next day, I went into meditation and I got this whole meditation about the body and the spirit working together and how the spirit knows if the body's ill, how the spirit can help try to heal the body, and I saw this really cool thing. And then I saw Jeannie's mom in spirit, and she's wearing like red flowy culottes. Well, to me, everybody in spirit is like full on white, right? Full on white. She's wearing these red flowery culottes, and I thought, okay, good for you. And so, the message I got was her mom is well, her mom is fine, her mom is thriving, everything's good on the other side. So I reached out to Jeannie, let her know. She was really pleased. And it was Jeannie's birthday. So I went to the store to look for some flowers. Well, this one bouquet of flowers just kept going like, me, take me. I'm Jeannie's flowers. So I bought them, got them in the car. I'm driving to Jeannie's house, and I looked at them and I realized they were red. They were like red, showy flowers. And I thought, that's just what her culottes looked like. It was like her mom was involved in picking out the flowers for Jeannie's birthday. But it was such a fascinating little snippet of the process of dying, and how in spirit sometimes there's just some things that have to take place before they're free to go.
Yeah.
And how quickly they can come back and go, I'm good. Yeah, I made it. I'm good. We're cool. And how they can continue to come back and check in with us. It was just a fascinating week. So, since we're talking about life and death and folks that we love that have passed on.
It is really interesting. And I that story says loud and clear, don't underestimate when it seems like they're just laying there. Don't underestimate the work that still goes on in the spiritual realm, in the ethers, whether they are still here in the bed or they are on the other side. They're still because we're all spiritual beings. It's like, so our spirit, their spirit, it's all still here. And I think that's why, and I do my best. I don't always, it's like somebody died, they're over there. It's like, well, no, they're right here. So there's so much when you kept, counseling her and saying, just go check in, just go in and let her know that her dad's going to be okay. It was all happening in the ethers. And just because we can't see it and we might not be able to hear the words, we have to trust that there's things that are happening behind the scenes.
Right.
There's still things that are going on.
Hey, Sue, everybody's saying that they can't hear us very well.
Well, I can most certainly. I'll put my I'll put this on. You don't usually use anything though, do you?
No, I don't usually have a problem.
No.
Wow. Okay, so you talk for a minute and let me get a headphone.
All right.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves. Okay. All right, I can hear that it's coming through. So you'll have to let me know if that sounds better for me. I'll move this a little bit. So I'm going to share a story that happened to me this morning. And this is one of the things that little ways that we know our loved ones are checking in. So my dad, his birthday is in March, and he was born in 1938. So whenever I see a 338 or a 3 with the day that he was born, which actually is Friday of this week, that's a connection. I know that it's him saying hello. And you can see 338 in so many different bizarre places. Well, this morning I was working on a journal for somebody. And whenever I am doing journals, if I'm making changes, I will version it, you know. So today I was working, there's version 1 for 3/8, because that's the date today of 21. Well, because I was on the 3rd version, so I changed the name to version 338. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Dad. It was, you know, just one of those little things that it's like, well, how many times am I doing that? Not very often. One of those little ways that our loved ones are checking in. Another story, and I don't know, this one I think I'm going to save because I don't know if she's going to pop on or not. And if she does, hopefully, then I'll share the story. But it's another dad. A friend of mine's dad passed away just a little bit over a year ago. And yesterday was her mom and sister-in-law's birthday, or they were celebrating it. So I will share that dad story later. Because I'm going to wait and see if she shows up. So now, Ruth, you talk, and let's see if everybody says that they can hear us or they can not hear us, or what's going on.
Okay, I'm talking now. Let's see. They're saying you're good. They can hear you. And Sue, you can hear me, but that's through Zoom rather than through Facebook.
Oh, yeah, because I can hear you just fine.
Yep.
So that can you guys hear Miss Ruth?
Now that I'm talking, Prashetta, can you hear me any better? Oh, okay. Odd. All right, yay.
Oh, good.
You can hear.
Maybe it's just they just wanted to see the wires coming out of our heads.
How strange. Okay. Well, so let's go with Tammy Hill. Tammy Hill wants to hear from her father.
Miss Tammy. So as I'm shuffling the cards, and this is the messages from your loved ones deck. I think you guys can see it the right direction. Just, you know, close your eyes and think of a memory. Think of your loved one. As soon as I say that, the chimes start going. So as I'm shuffling the cards, and I've already called in the angels and cleared the energy. And so everybody call in your loved ones, whoever you'd like to hear from today, for the perfect message. From the perfect message. And there it is, Miss Tammy. Ooh, I like this. I feel your prayers of love. And I love this. So this is a confirmation, Miss Tammy, for your dad, but for all of us. It's a confirmation that when we are sending out our love, they can feel it. It's like if you can imagine that, you know, we all have this spark inside of us, and which is love. And as we expand it, it's like as we expand it out, and especially when we are having feelings of love for one of our loved ones, whether it's a pet or whether it's a parent or a sibling, it doesn't matter. But as we expand our love, it is sending out prayers. It is sending out vibes. It is sending out like a reverberation of love that they can feel. So don't underestimate ever the power of love. How awesome is that? It's kind of like, you know, even the picture itself. This is us. This is our shining light within our heart. And those beams are the beams of love that we're sending out. I love that. Thank you, Miss Tammy.
All right. So Tina Mancusi
Yep.
is hoping to hear a message from any of her loved ones or her angels.
All right. So since Miss Tina is on, so it's Tina. I'm going to share the story of her dad. So her dad passed away a little over a year ago. And yesterday they were celebrating her mom and sister-in-law's birthday. And she had to run out to her car for some reason, and she sends me a picture, and there is a dime on the ground right outside of her car. Her dad, and I'm getting chills, and it's getting toasty in here. Her dad will send dimes. Her family sends coins.
Yeah.
But this was yesterday. So the reason I want to point that out to people is, especially when you are getting a sign or a message from a loved one, look at also what is going on. So she's leaving the birthday party of two of her family members to go out to her car, and there's a message from her dad. So thank you, Tina, for sending me that picture last night. And I knew I know you'll appreciate that I just shared that story. Let's see what we're getting. Come on, Tina's family. The chimes are going like crazy, that's for sure. Tina has experienced the chimes for many years. You know, when they're slow to come out, I think that is, I look at it as part of the message. And sometimes it's just a matter of us clearing our own energy. And sometimes it's, we'll see what the card is, and we'll see how it filters in. Okay, so as I get this, it's like, oh, maybe they're deciding. So it says, I will sing you a song. I find that interesting. Songs, think about the music. What does music usually do for people? It inspires us. It brings joy. It brings happiness. And generally, when we are singing or whistling, we're happy. You know, usually when you catch yourself that you're humming or singing, it's that you are happy. Now, this specifically, I don't know what song, Tina, I don't know if I ever remember you saying anything about a specific song that somebody that's on the other side that has been singing, but it's not necessarily the song itself. It may be the words. It may be the tune itself, or it may just be the way that it makes you feel. So, for instance, if you hear a song and it instantly makes you think of, you know, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, look at where it takes you. So, and again, it also may be very, very much that a loved one on the other side is singing a song. It may be something from when you were a baby. And it may be something, as soon as I said it, as soon as you saw the card, it may be that a song popped into your head that you hadn't thought of for years. So whatever it brings up for you, allow that to be as part of the message as well. So Miss Tina, you'll have to let me know on that as well. Thank you.
I'm just laughing. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. If not, we're reading lips today. But Tina said that her brother put together a scavenger hunt yesterday for her sister's 50th birthday, and she had to sing Dancing Queen on the street before collecting more items.
Okay, I knew that there was a scavenger hunt. I did not know the rest of that. That is so funny.
That is so funny.
I love that. Oh my gosh. And again, I'm getting chills.
So, Sue, you were talking about coins, finding coins. And I think it is so interesting how different people, when they've passed, leave different things for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know how they come up with what the symbol is. My mother-in-law, it was yellow butterflies. My friend Sylvia, it was coins. and it was almost always dimes. And I found so many dimes the year after she passed. I've
Mhm.
never seen that many coins. And I kept them. I have bags of coins from her passing. I just think it's really fascinating how they do that. So,
Okay, so something I will add to that so everybody pays attention. So, and I'm getting major chills on this. So, I shared the story about Tina's dad and the dime. So, Ruth has a connection with her friend and dimes. So, look at that. Look at my story about Tina's dad's dime as a message for Ruth also. So see how that works? We come together, we're sharing stories, and those are part of the messages. So it's like, oh, wow, I would have, some people, it's like, I would have never thought of that. And it's like, yes, the stories are all a part of it because we are all connected. And our loved ones are on the other side. They're like, wait, pick me. Wait, pick me. It's like, oh, she didn't pick me, but she got the message.
yeah.
So I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Miss
Yeah,
Ruth.
well, I think it's fascinating. I don't know if over there in the ether they have like this showcase with butterflies and coins and flashing lights and music playing, and they get to go, I think I'm going to pick that one. I'm going to pick flashing lights, and that's going to be my sign to folks. Or I'm going to pick smells, and that's going to be my sign to folks. I have no idea how they choose what it is that's going to be their signature memory, that thing that triggers you to go, oh, that reminds me of my grandma. How I don't know how they pick it.
I don't know either, but sometimes, it's funny because I think once there's that connection, it opens the door. So a friend of mine, when I used to do talks at this, it's a spiritualist church when I was up in Prescott. And I did a talk on our loved ones, different signs, different messages. And I connect with numbers a lot, but there's, I went through other ways that people connect. And a friend of mine who very intuitive, she comes up to me afterwards and she goes, I don't connect with my mom through the numbers, but when you talked about flowers, that's my mom. And it's pansies. I'm pretty sure it's pansies. And she said after that, so after she made the connection, that's when she would start seeing pansies in the most bizarre of places. So I think that sometimes that connection, it's not recognized, but once it's recognized, it pushes the door open and then it becomes that connection.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. My
Yeah.
my grandmother sometimes will bring me a smell, and that
Mm,
smell will take me back to her carport, and it's fresh raspberries, and it takes me back every time.
that's
Like
funny.
my grandmother. Yeah. Now, so just a quick minute, and we're going to move on to Prachetta's mom. But a gentleman named Ward, who I met, who lives in Denver, his wife, who passed, Suzanne, would come to him in the night with flashing the lights in the bedroom. And that was the first that he had any idea that there was life after life.
Mhm.
And when he started keying into that, then she would do things like turn on the TV or make the phone ring or, that make the windshield wipers go on in the car. And hers was an electric energetic connection, which I haven't heard that much about. Have you heard about that kind of thing so much?
I have with other people, including my youngest brother. I can't remember what it was. This was a couple of years ago. He was working on something, and it was like either something would kind of come on or something would not come on. And I said, Mike, that's Grandpa Broome. So Grandpa Broome was an electrician, and Mike was doing something electrical. And I feel that Grandpa Broome also, I think that he helps Mike with a lot of things that Mike doesn't realize,
Sure.
because he was also a woodworker. He would make the most amazing, okay, so you know those things that the wind makes them go and it twists and turns?
Mhm.
He used to make these things out of wood, all whittled or carved out of the same piece of wood that would spin around. And they were very cool. Well, Mike, my brother, makes really cool bowls and different woodworking, wood things. Oh, I wish I could reach the other one that I have. But he makes the coolest things. And his ideas will come out of, like, who knows where. And it's like, yeah, I think it's Grandpa Broome.
I'll tell you, I guess we're just talking today, but I know we do have a couple folks that want some things. But when we left my mother-in-law's funeral, we were on the way to the reception, and we had my father-in-law in the car with me. In that few short minutes, he reaches over, takes off his wedding ring, puts it in his front pocket, and he said, I guess I don't need this anymore, which just was like a stake in all of our hearts. But we weren't going to say anything because we know everybody grieves in their own way.
Right.
So we got to the reception, and we had taken the flowers from the funeral into the house, into the home we were in. And then we put them in the living room, and then we all went in the kitchen. And about 5 minutes later, we heard this really large crash and went into the other room. And one of the huge vases of flowers that had been in the middle of the table had fallen on the floor.
Wow.
I have no idea how it got there, but all I could think of was, I think my mother-in-law's angry that my father-in-law removed the ring and said, I'm out, I'm done. It was fascinating. Fascinating.
That is. Yeah, because, if somebody is on the other side, I don't know that I've never felt that there's ego stuff. However, I do feel like it's going to sound kind of strange, and maybe you can articulate it better, but levels of spirit that we go through, as in, if I am just crossing, and so this is the first day I'm on the other side, the only thing I remember, I remember spirit, but I remember a lot of the ego stuff. So there's still some of it there. Day 2, more of the ego stuff falls away and I become more and more spirit. So I think there is a transition that happens. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a fascinating idea. I hadn't actually thought of that. Right, because when I check in with spirit now that have been over there for a while, I'm not getting any of the ego stuff.
Yeah, and I think, well, it's like people they say attend their own funerals.
Yes, my mother-in-law attended her funeral.
So you think about that, is like, okay, is it, and I'm getting such chills. I mean, you guys, it's 77 degrees in here and the sun is nice. It's almost like, okay, is part of it ego because they want to see who came? I think that might be part of it, but the other part of it is, if you think about, there's such an awesome visual that I had seen one time. It was a picture I think somebody had painted or something, where you can see everybody in the church, and beside everybody is their guardian angel as they're, mourning over the loss of their loved one. And their loved one, you can see the spirit of their loved one sitting by either the spouse or a child. So it's kind of like we have multiple levels of, that's we're getting multiple levels of support
Right.
from the other side. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a really cool visual.
So I was at my my mother-in-law's funeral, and I was barely dipping into understanding energy. Barely. Didn't even know I was beginning. And so we're sitting there, and the woman is singing, which we didn't pick the soloist. She came with the funeral home, and she really wasn't very pleasant to listen to. And so I was trying to not watch her because I was afraid I was going to laugh, which would have just been horrible. But I guess it was just a stress relief, right? So I'm looking away, and in the front of the pulpit, I see my mother in law and a guide. And they're together facing out, looking at all of us. And I can tell she has no emotional attachment to what she's seen. And I can tell that the guide is saying something like, these are all the people that you impacted. And
Wow.
I felt her so strongly up there that I blew her a kiss because I knew she was there and I knew nothing about energy. So that's how strong that was. So, okay, let's get back
Very
to,
cool.
yeah, so let's get back to Perchetta. Perchetta, her mother passed away March 14 of last year. So this is a big, big anniversary of the first year of death.
March 14 last year. Okay.
Yep.
Well, and yeah, it is. It's a big week because it is the first year brings up everything, every single anniversary, every single special occasion, and it does future years as well. But the first is really the toughest for a lot of people. So Prashetta, mother, 314. So just 2 days. My dad's birthday is this Friday. Oh, it's interesting too that when it comes to numbers, that I pay attention to not only birthdays, but also graduation days. So the day that they transitioned.
And you call that a graduation day?
I call it a graduation day at times. Oh, there it is. Because that's what it feels like. You know, it is, think about it this way, is when someone crosses from being human, we grieve. But if you think about now they're being born, they've graduated from this life onto the other side. So look at all of the things that we've learned, that we've come here to learn. You know, we sign up to learn all these things. So look at all the things that I've learned in this lifetime that I'm now able to take on to my next lifetime, if that's what our soul chooses, or taking that onto the spiritual realm. Because just because we're on the other side doesn't mean we're not done growing, we're not done sharing. So graduation, I might be taking some information and sharing it with other spiritual beings.
Yeah.
So Prashetta, invite me into your dreams. You know, and this is, I love that this says invite. There's something, you know, asking, yes, it's the same thing, but there's something about an invitation and something about, I don't know, it feels much more special if you invite versus ask. So, Miss Prashetta, what I would say is, especially if you have not seen your mom in dreams yet, and this, you know, other loved ones, but I would invite her. I would invite her into your dreams. And you can do this if you ask one night and nothing happens. Keep going. do a special invitation. And that's, you can actually do that where you create something in the 3D world that is a beautiful invitation where you're inviting your mom into your dreams, you know, and have that sitting by your bed or having it under your pillow. So you can pull in her energy into your dreams and ask every single night if you want until she shows up. It may be, you know, and maybe it'll start out where it's that seems like a dream, but then maybe it'll evolve into something else. But I think part of it, we have to remember to ask. So do that invitation into your dreams.
And Sue, I think with Roshetta's mom, her mother is so present so much of the time. And so when I hear that card for her, I think it's a little bit different because I think they maybe kind of expect her to be there now all the
Mm-hmm.
time because she really hasn't left in so many ways. But there's a difference between just expecting that somebody's going to be there
Mm-hmm.
and inviting them in,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
It does. And I think the other thing that, and this is a difference in how people pick things up. And what I mean by that is, as many of you can tell, Ruth is very intuitive. She can see different images. She can hear different things. She can feel different energies. And not everyone gets the information the same way. It might be more subtle than that. And I think the invitation, going along with the assumption and the invitation, it might shift into, it's so subtle that I can't feel it, and it's a little twinge that I can. So, and even if you get little twinges, go with that. Thank you. May I have another?
May I have some more, please?
Yes.
Yes, that's great. Okay. So Stephanie Stafford is hoping to hear from her partner, Tony.
Hi, Miss Stephanie. Let's see if Miss Tony shows up. So, you know, it goes right back because I actually met Miss Tony only once. Yep, no, I thought that was it. And I go right back there. Go right back to when I met her several years ago. Oh, there, let's see. Stephanie says, trust in yourself. I do. This is so funny. You know, and this is I don't know that I've ever pulled this card out of this deck before. At least I don't remember it. But so Stephanie, what it feels like is there were different things that over the years that you might not have trusted in. And I know I've seen you come so far. But there's different things that, and I think maybe it's confirmation, that's what it is, that there are different things that you haven't trusted in yourself, whether it's in intuition, whether it's, you know, doing something one way versus another way. And Tony always had your back. And also she always trusted in what you were doing. She trusted you before you did. Which is so interesting because, yeah, sometimes we're the last to trust in ourselves. But I do feel like this is kind of more confirmation than it's like, yeah, Stephanie, you've come a long way because you are trusting in yourself so much more than you ever used to. So Miss Stephanie, you'll have to let me know how that rings.
And what I'm hearing with that, Sue, is that Tony trusted you with her heart.
Oh, yeah,
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
yeah, very true.
So,
Very true.
version here. Excuse me, Abla, if you are still on, there was a comment about Abla had a client whose mother passed, and there had been discomfort, bad blood between the two. And this client was wanting mom to come in and say, I'm sorry for, all of the pain between the two of us. And Abba wisely said, no, don't plan on that. That's probably not going to happen. And what I experienced just this last week was with my friend Jeannie, whose mom died. It wasn't an I'm sorry, but there was kind of a reminder of this was the role I played in your life.
Mm-hmm.
This was the role you played in my life. And we were really both just playing our roles. So in spirit, I'm this lovely form, and in spirit, you are this lovely form. And in the 3D, we're there to teach each other things. So it wasn't actually an I'm sorry as much as it was a reminder of this is how this works. And in spirit, I adore you. And that's why we were what we were for each other.
Yeah. And it's funny. So what I'm seeing as you're saying that, it's like almost like we are so we're spirits. And we have these little, what do you call it when stringed puppets? Is it a marionette?
Marionette, yeah.
So we're each spiritual beings and we're working the marionette of our 3D lives. That is I've never seen that before.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's okay, now I'm going to be really stinky to you, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to remind you about you're here to learn resilience. So here we go. I'm going to give you this opportunity to remember you're learning resilience. Yeah. That makes sense.
There's a book that I read several years ago. It's like your soul's plan, or your soul's path. And the guy that wrote it, what he did is he had people as well as mediums. And I think he had like 3 different people per story. And would tell, okay, this person this person was a drug addict. And so here's the medium tuning into the spiritual being and talking to the person that's still here as to this is what they came here to learn. And the analogy that I always had in my head is like, okay, so Ruth and I are spirits and we're sitting around having this cup of coffee. And Ruth says to me, because I love you so much, Sue, I want to come back and be your wicked, evil mother. And I'm like, oh, and I love you so much, Ruth. I'm going to do that. And we're sitting around having coffee, and the spiritual being, and the coffee tastes great, and we're feeling awesome. That we agree to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
That when we get here, we forget.
Yep. And no matter how ugly it is, remember I'm doing this because I love you. And I'm going to help you learn all that you need to learn.
Oh, yeah. Not that I think Ruth was ever my wicked mother in a past life. I actually have never really gotten that any past lives that you and I have been in together, which is interesting because a lot of people I do.
Yeah.
But no, and not that I don't think that they're there, because I'm sure that they are, but.
Yeah, I think there might be one. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. See how she did that, you guys?
So Tammy Hill. So Tammy has another question, but she had mentioned when her sister was passing, she saw her father and I think her brother on the wall of the hospital room. And she was wondering if that meant something like they were there to support the transition. And quickly, Tammy, when my dear friend Sylvia was passing, I'm sitting at her deathbed and I'm sort of staring out the door. And her husband walked down the hall. Well, her husband had been dead for 4 years. And I'm looking at him, and I didn't want to blink because I was afraid if I blinked, he would disappear. And he was wearing his favorite clothes. It was so him. And he looked so comfortable, so happy. And my friend passed away that evening. So, yeah, I do believe you saw your father and your brother on the hospital wall, and I do believe they were there. And it's all part of that support team for the person transitioning.
It really is. And they show up in different ways, because Tammy, not everybody would have been able to see them. Maybe somebody else sitting there would have noticed a scent or just had a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So, I look at it as, wow, that's beautiful that you were able to see them. And I think it also brings comfort, not only to you that's sitting here, but the person who's crossing. So it's twofold that they're there, and it's a team.
It is a team.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tammy was hoping to hear from her sister or her friend Ned, I believe is the name.
All right, let's see. It's funny because every once in a while I can see the scarf behind me moving. It looks like it's breathing. Oh, all right, let's see. No, thought that was it, but it's not. One of the things that when someone first crosses, a lot of people that are left here, the grieving is so thick. And that's the word that I feel is the thickness of grief. And I think the reason I feel it that way is because, people say the veil is either thin or it's thick. But I think the grief, the thickness of that veil is, and it's so funny, not funny, haha, but it's an illusion, because imagine that the veil is smoke, that you have this curtain of smoke in front of you, and grief makes it thicker. Well, you can still reach your hand beyond the smoke. And I think that's what love helps us with. Oh, okay. Okay, I did not look at this card before I said that. It says you are folded in love. And that says it right there. It's like, it's so beautiful because it doesn't matter who's on the other side. It doesn't matter which loved one it is. But the love is our connection. The love is always there. Going back to even the stories that Ruth and I have been sharing about us being spiritual beings with the puppets below, that spiritual love is always there. That spiritual, the love, whether the veil feels really thin or the veil is thick, it doesn't matter, because love can reach right through that veil to the other side. And this enfolding, just imagine that you have this little bundle of love, and you're being picked up and you're enfolded, whether it's, you can feel the love on your shoulders, whether you can feel maybe a touch on your face. It's like, and as I'm talking, something that people may feel if they're out on a walk and there's a soft breeze that goes by that feels like the touch of someone's hand on their face, maybe it's somebody that they were just thinking of. So bring that into the mix as well. So, wow, that's beautiful. A beautiful message. You're enfolded in love.
That is beautiful. Yeah, so Sue, that is all of our folks today. I love this show with you. Thank you so, so much.
I do too. And can I share a couple things?
Yes.
So, one of the things that this is my first book, Signs from Your Loved Ones. And I wrote this, I think I wrote it in 2012. But in the book, I go through all the different signs that people may not recognize. And there's not tons of information in each section, but the one thing that I tried doing with this book is offering, like, here's different ways that maybe you didn't think of, that you might recognize. And then I have journal. A lot of them, there's information, but then there's actually journal pages of my journals of different things that either I had recognized throughout my grief, throughout my getting to know the signs and messages from my loved ones. So it is available on Amazon.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. And then one other thing I want to show you. This is a journal I had done. It's called, it's a grief journal.
Aw.
And I've always liked this picture because, you know what? It doesn't matter whether it looks like it's separated. The love is still there. And for the most part, it's a journal. But there's a couple of pages at the very beginning that I just talk about different angels that you can pull in, different things that you can do.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Yeah. So anyway, for some reason, I was drawn to pull that one out. So I wanted to share that.
That's so cool. Sue Broome, you're amazing. I so appreciate your time, and I so appreciate having somebody to talk with about these things, because not everybody can have that conversation about death and life and
Right.
the in between, the after, yeah, all of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Miss Ruth. I so enjoy our time together. I mean, I love doing the readings, but I love the stories that we are sharing, because that is helping others in so many different ways as well.
Very cool. All right, I'm going to let you go, my dear. Thank you so much. Love to you. And all our friends, thanks for being here with us. And we will see you soon here on Enlightened World Network.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.